I wanted to do this video at the end of last year because it sort of tied in with a particular anniversary, I suppose, really. I never got around to doing it, but I thought, well, you know what? I woke up this morning and I started doing you don't do a video in your head, don't you? Sometimes you sort of think, now, what am I going to talk about? What I'm going to do, and then you start doing sort of like videos, and then I thought, how do you know what? I should be recording this, but it was too early. I had to go to work anyway, so I thought, you know what? I'll try and recapture what I was thinking of this morning, and put it on here. And obviously, it's going to be nowhere near as good. And I've probably forgotten half the stuff I was going to say. But anyway, let us backtrack 35-ish years, and back to November 1989. Wow. Most of you probably weren't even born then. Actually, no. None of my target audience would have been, were around then. You were around then. Nobody under the age of probably 40 watches this anyway. So, a very interesting sort of period in my life where when you latch on to certain things. And at the time, I hadn't really got anything of an interest going on. There was the gaming stuff, obviously, it's why I'm here. But that was difficult because although I like games and playing games, and we had an Atari 2600, I was known as the kid at school with the wooden Atari. Everybody else had like 8-bit computers, and we were gradually moving into 8-bit consoles, and the 16-bit consoles coming up, and then we had the 16-bit computers, and there was me with me wonderfully out of date Atari 2600. As much as I love that machine, so you sort of find, I played cricket at the time, and again, I don't know how I fell into that. I've got a feeling I was sort of pushed into that by possibly my parents to try and get me to do something active. I did karate as well, which probably most of you don't know I did karate. Didn't go very far. I think I got 3 belts in. I think I got to red, and then I realised I wasn't actually very good at it, so I packed that in as well. Anyway, we started all this stuff was going around school at the time, and this was a part of the new television generation that had come along. It was beginning to come along at the time. But let's just backtrack a little bit from there. And what I'm talking about today is wrestling. Now, for those of you who watch this channel, I used to do a wrestling stream with Pedro over on Bootleggers, and we did that for a couple of years, and it was great fun. It really was great fun. I think we just probably ran out of stuff to talk about or to agree on. It's a shame we stopped doing them. I don't think anybody really watched them in great detail, but we had a great time doing them, and I loved doing it. It was fantastic. So yeah, and I've shown VHS wrestling collection off, and I've done other things as well, like films. I talk about films and TV and music and stuff like that. So there's plenty of variation on this. So this is where it sort of fits in. And it might sort of spur off into maybe, I don't want to say a new series, because you say like a new series, you sort of commit yourself to do something and then you don't do any, and that's it. But at the moment, because I'm not doing a lot of gaming stuff at the moment, I thought, well, must be something, and this is quite interesting to talk about. So let's go back probably from 1989 a little bit further, and my introduction to British wrestling at the time, which was on the telly. Well, a big thing in the 70s and 80s growing up, British wrestling, Saturday tea time, and then it got moved to Saturday lunchtime, and then all of a sudden ITV decided, we're not going to do it anymore. It's too down market for ITV, which is a joke in itself. I've never seen a more down market network than ITV. It's always the same. When somebody gets to run something, they decide, actually, I'm going to take stuff off I don't like. So Greg Dyke, who then becomes the director of ITV, decided he doesn't like wrestling. It's too cheap. It's not real. That might come as a surprise to some of you. And he takes it off. So there's massive national outcry because apparently the Queen watched it once or something like that. And how dare this man ruin Saturday afternoons for everybody. Well, it didn't make much difference, did it? Because there wasn't obviously a great outpouring, but he never got back on television, did it? It's as simple as that. And it's like the same when Michael Gray got in charge of the BBC. The first thing he decided to do was cancel Doctor Who, because it looked cheap and it was rubbish, and cost a lot of money. It's always the same. People move and they start changing things around. By that point, to be honest with you, Doctor Who at the time was looking cheap and a bit ragged around the edges, and wasn't quite as much fun as it was when I was a kid. But that's it. So yeah, there's a lesson for us all. Get in charge of a TV company and start taking off programs you don't like. As soon as I get in charge of the BBC, I'm taking Mrs Brown's Boys off. Oh, that's the first thing that's going, mate. Lucky I've got a television which actually blocks that program out. It's fantastic. I recommend you get one. Anyway, so he cancels wrestling off ITV. Now, I remember watching wrestling at my granddad's house. God bless him. And he loved it. He was really into it. And we were there one Saturday afternoon. There was a battle royal going on, and there was this one wrestler in the ring. I remember his name, King Ben, and he was getting battered. And my dad was, my parents were there watching it with us, and I kept saying, "Oh, he's rubbish. He's old. He's going to get thrown out and all this." And my dad goes, "No, he'll win it. He'll win it. Mark my words, he'll win it." And obviously, my dad has got no suspension of disbelief. To sort of like try and say, "Oh no, he's going to win. He's going to win." Okay, all right. And lo and behold, he wins, doesn't he? He wins. My dad knows more than I do. So we sort of, so that was my first sort of introduction. I wasn't really into it, and then the television revolution starts. The Sky starts coming on, and somebody at school gets a satellite dish. It's like. Might as well get a Rolls Royce. It's the same sort of thing. So, a lad called Dave Maydew. I remember him distinctly because he looked like Ronnie Corbett, and he had this like really distinctive laugh as well. We used to just go around to make him laugh at stuff, so we could just hear his laugh and laugh. It's coin a phrase from 40 Towers. It's like a steel beam machine gun. It was a really distinctive laugh. But he looked like Ronnie Corbett, no doubt about it. He looked like Ronnie Corbett, the two Ronnies. But he got a satellite dish. His parents won Sky TV in a competition. And he was always coming and talking. We got around, he was talking about this wrestling thing that was on Sky. It'd been on Sky Channel for years. It's not something new. And American wrestling had been on British television occasionally, usually late at night, at about 3 o'clock in the morning. Or occasionally on the British wrestling slot, they'd opt out and show a week of American stuff. So everyone was sort of getting into this, and a mate of mine used to play cricket with up the road from me, who was Commodore 64, I used to play him when I was a kid. He got Sky, and he was always talking about this, and everybody sort of got into it, and I was like, doesn't really seem my sort of thing, and still trying to find, I want my mates are talking about it, and they start talking about people like Hulk Hogan and all this, and you think, well, I'll give it a go, see what it turns out to be like. So this is like November 89, this is. And the Survivor Series has just happened. And if I got a picture here, I'll sort of stick one in of the video cassette. So I would have shown you the video cassette I've got, but unfortunately it's buried behind the television in the lounge. Hidden, I would probably say. If Mrs Bear was sat here, she would say the word hidden, out of sight, because it's covered by a black cloth, which is great because it protects the VHS. I don't think she realises that. It protects the VHS. So they'll last forever. They'll still be there. So he's taped this off Sky. He's got the kid at school, who I'm quite good friends with, and he's taped it off Sky. And he's passing his tape around. He goes around 4 or 5 different people, and I'm hearing all this stuff going. I said, "Can I have that when so and so's finished?" And he went, "Yeah. When I get it back, I'll give it to you." Okay, fine, lovely. And a couple of days later, it comes back, and I think it's my mate Jim. I'll keep mentioned quite a few times. I think he had it before I did, and then he gave it to me. And then this other kid piped up, a kid by the name of Paul Fuller. He said, "Oh, I was next in line for them." I said, "Well, I'll give them to you after that." And my mates whose tapes were, he says, "Don't give them to him after me." He said, "Give them back to me. I don't want him having them." Okay, that's fine. So all of a sudden, I got these videotapes. So I'm actually desperate to see what's all the fuss is about, because I don't think I'd seen any American stuff. I've seen the British stuff, I hadn't seen the American stuff. So he's taken these tapes out of the cardboard boxes and he's put them in these, those fake video cases that look like books. Again, probably a small number of you know what I'm talking about. So I've got these in my rucksack, lugging them home, trying to get home, walking a mile back from school, get home. And I sort of get in and thought, right, nobody else is here. Mum and dad at work, sister's not back from part of school yet. Great, fantastic. I shall put this in and start watching it. So I put it in, and this particular event starts off with like all the wrestlers doing like a 10-second promo or something. So you're immediately introduced to this like great glossy world of muscles and baby oil and suntan lotion and really bad acting, and you just got this sitting, what is all this about? What is this? Can't quite understand what it is. So the next thing you know, it starts up, and then the doorbell goes. And then all of a sudden it dawns on me that my granddad's coming round because my sister was doing a school play that night. So there was, I was thinking, I might be able to sit down and watch some of this tonight, because obviously at the time I didn't have a television in my room, unlike most people at the age of 14. I hadn't got a television in my bedroom. It's amazing to think about that. All my mates had televisions, and I never had anything like that. You know, I mean, people sort of think I used to live in a small square room with no windows in it, and a brick for company. No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. I had a stereo. But yeah, televisions upstairs, video recorder of your own. Get out of town. It's 1989, this is. They were still that big. Can't even get it in the screen. So my granddad's come round, I thought, I'll have to turn this off now. I don't remember this previous encounter watching wrestling around his house. And he said, what's that you're watching there? And I said, oh, it's this wrestling thing I got from somebody at school. I said, I'll turn it off. He said, oh, no, leave it on. We'll sit down and watch it. And a few times after this, when he's come round, either to visit or we've had some sort of family thing coming, he's come round, we were on my own, he says, you got any of that wrestling to watch? Because I remember probably about within probably these 12 months after that, I had another tape of something or other, probably prime time wrestling episode, and I'd watched it about in the morning before he come round, and he said, have you got any wrestling? So I got this tape from a friend of mine. He said, I'll put it on then. So we watched it again. So he was sat there watching it with me, and gradually my family start to filter home, don't they? So I mean, mum comes back first of all, I think, then my sister comes back, and then my dad comes back. And immediately my mum and dad are like saying, oh, what's you watching this rubbish for? Immediately. Why are you watching this rubbish? Oh, don't you know it's all fake? Look, he's stamping his foot as he punches him, pointing out all the obvious things that you try and deny. Okay? We ain't stupid, right? We know what it is. But, why go around saying something like that? I don't quite understand why the reason to point it out. It's sort of like, going to watch a play and stand up halfway through and say, the butler did it. Yeah. It was weird. So obviously they're saying everything they can do possibly to put me off it. And I'm desperately saying, look, I don't want to go and watch the play tonight. I want to watch this. No, you come into the play. I don't want to watch the bloody play. I don't want to watch my sister in the play. She can't act to save her life. The last lot of reviews she had were terrible. I don't want to go. No, you're going to go watch it. Okay, right. So anyway, about halfway through, so we all go out, and so I turn it off. I can't remember, we got about, I don't know, maybe an hour in or something, and my mum insisted I turn it off, because she'd had enough. So we turned it off, then we went to the play in the evening, and my dad said something halfway through the play, and we were clapping or something. He said, oh, your sister's good, isn't it? I sort of turned around and said, yeah. I said, I could be sitting at home watching Hulk Hogan now. Which meant nothing to either him or me, because I had no idea who this guy was. So eventually, over the next couple of days anyway, I managed to watch the rest of the event when I can get time in front of the television, usually means getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning and being able to watch it before I went to school and stuff like that. And the story with the tapes, just out of interest, there was a point to this. The story with the tapes is I then gave them to Paul Fuller. My mate said, what did you do that for? He said, well, I can't remember what it was. And he said, have you got them tapes? I said, yeah, I've got them in my bag. I was going to give them back to Chad, who lent it. He said, no, he said, I'll have them. So he took them off me, and he said, what are you giving to him for? And he said, well, he said he was next. He said, well, I told you not to give them. I said, well, he's got them now. And we never saw the tapes ever again. The tapes disappeared. For years afterwards, when we saw Paul Fuller in the pub, and indeed, actually, for the remainder of the time we were at school, it was always a running joke. Have you got Chad's tapes, Fuller? And he'd run off, And then we saw him years later. I remember talking to him in the pub about 21 years later. I said, so just for the record, I said, have you still got those Survivor Series tapes? And he sort of looked at me and he went, what are you on about? I said, I gave you them tapes, 1989, have you still got them? He said, you don't want them back, do you? I said, no. I said, I'm just asking. Gone over his head. But that then started this lifelong, all of a sudden it's like, wow, this is fantastic. I must consume this product. I found something I could really get into. And Chad had obviously got Sky, so he was taping all his stuff, so he's feeding me all these tapes, and it was like, SummerSlam 89, Royal Rumble 1990, which and then WrestleMania 6. WrestleMania 6 was a queue for the tapes at school. I think I got the tape of Mania 6 off Sky, I think possibly the day after. It was really quick. And in fact, I was so into about WrestleMania 7, I'd found somebody to tape it for me when it was on. And I remember ringing him up from about 10 o'clock the following morning. I remember ringing about 6 times between 10 o'clock and midday saying, "Are you bringing that tape down?" Because I wanted to watch it. I was like, bring the tape down. And he's like, later, I couldn't. So, yeah. But it's like a lifelong expression, so I've been fed tapes from that point of view. And the great thing about borrowing tapes off Chad was because he had Sky, he was always watching the porn afterwards as well. So if you got a tape with some wrestling on, you wouldn't turn the tape off when the wrestling finished. You'd let the tape run to see what was on the end of it. Occasionally, you would get lucky and find there was some stuff on there. Occasionally, you'd find something else, like, Saturday Night's Main Event on, or whatever. It's like, oh, great, well, another wrestling to watch after that. But occasionally, you'd find something which, technically speaking, you should be watching at that age in your life. And just like this lifelong obsession. So 35 years ago, in November just gone, that was it. And I did the stream with Pompey Games Room, Sean, where we were he was doing a wrestling war games thing, which I don't watch it so much now, so I don't really know the ins and outs of it. But the team I picked there was the Hogan team from '89 Survivor Series, because I thought, well, that's quite significant, really. And it began a lifelong obsession, which I've always carried. I still read about it now, and I still keep my, occasionally I'll watch a bit of AEW, only because they do the London big shows, and I've watched those two. And occasionally I might watch a clip off the latest WWE event or something like that, but I don't watch it religiously at all. In fact, I probably find it now faker than I did back then. I don't know why. Some of it just seems a little bit, I don't know, acrobatic now. I think back then it was a lot more simpler, which is great, because when you get to my age, simple is good. So that's I prefer that. And again, it depends. It's like games. If you were brought up on, the Mega Drive and the Super Nintendo, no will in the world is going to convince you that 8-bit Commodore games and whatever bit they were, Atari games, are something you should be getting into. If you grew up with that, it's likely that's going to be the stuff that you're going to focus on and stay, maintain with, and you can't go back. With me, wrestling works the other way around. I can go back and watch all that. I can even watch stuff earlier than '89. Believe me, I can watch anything from probably about the mid '70s onwards until about 2000. But I can't watch anything now. I just don't. It just doesn't strike the same to me as it did previously. It's weird. So I think somebody who's growing up with this modern stuff now is probably going to find it very hard to go back. I know when we were doing the Wrestle Talk round table streams, when we had Gernaldinho on, I would say he had an issue with some. He found it. He didn't find the older stuff as nostalgic and as fun as I did, and then I didn't find the stuff that he was enjoying as much fun as he did. It was just that clash of what you were brought up on. It's the same with games, and probably the same with music as well. I can't listen to anything before 2000. It gives me a headache. But then again, I've sat with people and there's been a record come on song come on the radio, and I sit there and think, oh yeah, I remember that one. And then someone turned around the one time and said, God, that sounds really old. I was like, what? That sounds old? That sounds old to you? But then again, I look at stuff on the television now, and what was I watching the other day? Something that was 50 years old. No, it wasn't. It was Raiders. It was Raiders of the Lost Ark at Christmas. That film now this year is 44 years old. And I think when I was young, films that were 44-year-old were in black and white, and more likely to be a musical or something like that. The Wizard of Oz sort of thing. That was it. That was a film that was that old, or The Gone with the Wind. Those sort of epics from back then. Those were that age when I was younger. So it's weird. It's when you start thinking about things like that, it's a whole nostalgia thing. And I suppose this is where I'm trying to sort of go as well with what I'm trying to do on here. Is, primarily it's a gaming thing, but there's other things I want to talk about and I've touched on. I've still got my DVDs to run through. I did think about that earlier on today. I did the first one of those. I still probably got maybe 2 of those to do, which I'm looking forward to doing, but I just haven't got round to sorting things out yet. And I don't want it to be, I just want to bring in a few different things. So I might do this again more, though I might just sort of focus on, a couple of things in the past and talk about them and just sort of memories and things like that. Yeah, but I thought that might be interesting for somebody. I don't know. Probably turning again thinking he's not doing any games again, is he? Yeah, probably not. But I will do when I get round to it. I've got I'll do the PlayStation 1 challenge. We've got another one at the moment, which is Porsche Challenge, which Steve's uploaded today, which is the 15th of January. And I've got that one. And we did that 5 years ago. I've told you we did this 5 years ago, Steve. I'm looking forward to doing that. The Club 52 group, which I got pulled into last year, we're doing Inversion. So I've got it out. See, there we go. Proof. I've got it out. That game's come up on the wheel this month, so people have been asked to play that. Goodness knows, it is complete as well. See, there are some games on this channel. Never played it, but it's a Namco game, isn't it? Didn't realise that. But yeah, so I've got that out, ready to have a go at that. So I just need to get the Xbox out and have a twiddle with it. And I'd like to do some Wii stuff as well, some Wii gameplay. I did have the intention of doing it, starting it before Christmas and getting a few videos done, but I didn't get round to it. However, now all the Christmas lights have been taken down and all the batteries that were in the portable lighting have been taken out, I now have a supply of probably about 20 batteries with varying degrees of power in them, so I can plan my way through that. So that's what I'm trying to do. So yes, there is likely to be more gaming, but there might be more of this, because like with anything else, it sort of crosses over into that. We all watch films, we all listen to music. I know a few people I know have started doing videos with cassettes and vinyls and things like that, which is great. I've got Mrs. Bear's audio taped collection to show off, and we can have a good laugh at the poor taste in music. She's watching this, isn't she? Sorry. Look, I've got to tell the story about how you confuse the Beach Boys and the Bee Gees. I've got to tell you that. I've got to tell the people that story. Anyway, so yes, it's going to be a hodgepodge stuff, but I'd like to do this again. That's a story of an introduction to how I got into wrestling. I'm sure there are many other events I could talk about and things like that, and I may just drop it in occasionally. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that. If you'd be so inclined to, please give me some support. That'd be nice. In the meantime, thank you very much for listening. I will talk to you again soon. Until then, toodaloo.